Hi investors, welcome to the channel. My name is Mode, and today I will do a full stock analysis on Garmin. So we'll talk about what they're doing, and from what they're doing we'll go into the financials. From the financials we'll go into management analysis. From the management analysis we'll go into the weaknesses and strengths of the business. Towards the end we'll decide whether it's worth an investment or not. But now remember, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion and just me sharing my thoughts on this stock. It's up to you to make your own decision, and I strongly advise you to do your own analysis. So Garmin used to make satellite navigation systems. Garmin's best in 2008. Sales reached $3.4 billion before falling 24% by 2013. Share price at its best reached around $125 a share. There's some good news however. In 2019, sales were back up to $3.7 billion. This is a story of an incredible turnaround by Garmin. Let's take a look. Before I start doing any analysis on the business, I usually just go to the website and see whether I can understand the product. And if I can understand the product, I can easily tell it to someone. I can tell someone about you. I can tell you about this business that I found. So this is exactly what I did. So getting into Garmin, currently the business is made up of 5 segments: fitness, outdoor, aviation, automotive, and marine. Fitness is the biggest, and automotive, as expected, is the smallest because they used to make navigation systems, and Google came in and something went wrong. In the fitness segment, they have variables specific to what you do. So for example, if you're a pilot, or maybe you're in the Marines, or you're a golfer or an athlete, they probably have some technology that would work out for you very well. For instance, the recently released Ditto AirWatch allows pilots to log flights, navigate to an airport, whilst providing them with airport information, including frequencies and runway length, among other things. It also shows whether the pilot is on course or not, with the help of a horizontal situation indicator needle. Now this is all very important information, and to have this information on your wrist is an added layer of safety for both the pilot and the passengers. In the aviation segment, there is Autoland, a feature that automatically lands the plane in the event that the pilot is incapacitated. It's installed on land aircrafts and can be activated by passengers or automatically if there is no input from the pilot for some time. Once it's activated, the plane finds the nearest airport and informs ATC controllers of your emergency before it proceeds to navigate to that airport. The system will safely land the plane and turn off the engines, or without the pilot. The Boeing 737NG has a similar system. However, for the Boeing system to work, you need some prior knowledge of the plane and how to fly a plane. So you need to be either a pilot, maybe you need to have some form of training to be a pilot, or maybe a flight engineer or something like that. But with Garmin, this system is like maybe a second pilot. The passengers can simply push the button and then it can go and land itself. The marine segment comprises fish finders, autopilot, and sonar systems. Basically just everything that makes the open waters safer and fishing that much easier. Revenue has grown to 5-year CAGR of 5%, underperforming the industry by just 5%, while operating income has grown 28% over the same period, making this company a relatively fast grower. Garmin has a gross profit margin of 60% and net profit margin of 25%, an increase from 17% in 2016. This tells me that the company has been consistently winning against the big boys like Apple, Samsung, and Google. Reassuringly, no single customer represents more than 10% of net sales. Now this usually doesn't tend to be the case with companies that supply aviation equipment, because they tend to sell to a single business like a government maybe, or some company in the Middle East or wherever. Debt free and $1.7 billion in cash. This does come handy in the current environment. Now since Garmin is debt free, levered free cash flow margin and unlevered free cash flow margins are equal at 9.8%. Return on equity has been exceptional at 21%, while the 5-year industry average is only 13%. This is a 28% grower selling at just 20 times earnings, and Wall Street doesn't even know about this company. I bet most people didn't know about this until this video. The CEO, Cliff Pemble, has been in the business since 1989. In fact, he is known as employee number 6. He has held various positions, which combined gives him extensive knowledge of the business. To me, it looks like Cliff has dedicated his life to the business, which to me is very encouraging. In September 2020, the Director of Flight Operations and Chief Test Pilot, Tom Carr, was given the Ivan C. Award for his outstanding professional accomplishment in the conduct of flight testing. Recipients of this award include Neil Armstrong for the Apollo 11 moon landing and return, and Brian Trubshaw, the first British pilot to fly the Concorde in 1967. This is the kind of dedication I want to see in a company I'm going to be investing in, or at the very least considering investing in. Members of the National Marine Electronics Association named Garmin Manufacturer of the Year for the 6th time in a row. This honor is for the most recognized company in the marine electronics segment for product excellence. It's important to point out that although there's been significant sales of shares in the company, insiders still own about 22% of the outstanding shares. Like any company, Garmin has been the target of cyber attacks. The attacks encrypt some of their systems, preventing users from accessing their services. The most recent attack came in July 2020, to which the company allegedly paid $10 million to the attackers. The company maintains that they have insurance cover for this, although certain aspects may not be covered. You may not agree with the idea of paying ransoms, but one thing is clear: customers lose confidence in the product or service when something like this consistently happens. If it's not already apparent, the automotive segment has been struggling. Revenue has halved to $500 million in the last 5 years, accounting for just 14% of total sales, compared to 37% in 2015. I know this doesn't sound particularly encouraging for the business, but there's two bright spots I want you to understand. The first, revenue from each of the other 4 segments has increased by a minimum of 58% in the last 5 years. In fact, the outdoor segment has grown by 123% in the same period to $970 million in sales. This level of growth results in the loser segment making up just a small part of the pie. Second, the company has recently started working with automotive manufacturers, including Ford and BMW, to provide different products and services. Let's see how this turns out. As exciting as Autoland may be, owners of light aircrafts can elect not to have it at all. However, if Garmin can get regulators to make Autoland a mandatory requirement due to its incredible safety advantages, or to simply price it just right for potential buyers, it could reach unimaginable heights. With general aviation fighting for survival, you probably wonder why you should invest in a company that derives 20% of its revenue from the aviation segment. Frankly, I understand your concerns, but Garmin is primarily active in the personal and private aviation. And if you know something about the personal and private aviation segment, you know that it's been thriving. Though up on Google may be giants of the wearable market, their products have to be covered with a phone or tablet for a user to get any reasonable use out of them. This is not the case with Garmin, however. The Garmin Mach Captain, for instance, connects to your boat via a marine autopilot control unit, enabling you to steer and change the heading of your boat. In fact, it connects to most of Garmin's products, unlocking unparalleled levels of connectivity. Garmin has surely taken a page out of Apple's playbook. Tacx, a smart trainer similar to the Peloton bike, was acquired in 2019 and is aimed at professional cyclists. It costs just under £10 a month compared to £45 for the Peloton bike. It's in my opinion that athletes are more likely to buy the Tacx than the Peloton bike because of the level of connectivity with Garmin watches. Garmin has been growing exceptionally well and its products show real potential. So the big question is, should you buy it? I like to think that Garmin's moat lies in the way its products connect with other products. So it's not just your watch with your phone, it's your watch with your phone and with your plane or your boat. That's where I think Garmin's moat lies. However, the longer I study Garmin, the more I'm convinced that its moat is wider than I initially thought. Counterpoint research shows that between first quarter of 2019 and first quarter of 2020, Garmin has grown its market share from 8.9% to 9.4%, coming in second behind Apple, the market leader. It's only a matter of time before the big boys like Apple and Samsung start losing significant market share to Garmin. Coming to the big question, should you buy Garmin? Personally, I will be adding Garmin to my portfolio. But anyway, I'll keep updating you on the progress of this investment. And if you're thinking of any interesting stocks that you want me to look at, let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.